Welcome back, dear friends. It's all terribly. I've just received another order for one of the chronographic engines, chronological engine, I can't even remember what I called it, chronological engines, which is really exciting. It's happened at a perfect time because I'm building one and I've just started the baseboard for it, as you know if you've watched the last video. So I'm going to make two at the same time, which is always great because you know, you're doing the same jobs, you've got all the equipment you need for each individual job and you can just do it twice, which is great. And they've also ordered a scribulator, a Gregorian Scribulator, which I have to say, I think the Is It Time for Tea machine is my ultimate favourite machine just because it is so ridiculous. And the Scribulator I really like as well because it writes the day to month in such an overcomplicated way. It really is a joy. It summarises everything about steampunk. I just love it. Right, so what I'm doing now is making another one of these delightful baseboards. Lovely, look at that. Can't really because of the brightness. Isn't that gorgeous? And a hole, because once I've fixed the clock on with all the electronics and everything behind it, I realised, having made the first one not having a hole and having taken it all perfect and then somehow screwed down and not being able to access anything, this was the way forwards. So how to cut a hole like this? Well, I'll show you with my lovely jig for the router. Now I've got a cutting bit in the router, just a narrow one, and there's my lovely jig that enables me to slide backwards and forwards quite a long way. Well, not me, the router. I built it when I was making the base of the TARDIS, the steampunk TARDIS console, because I needed to very accurately cut large circles. And I was thinking, where can I sit this to cut a nice large circle? And I thought, the pillar drill base has even got an hole in it. I apologise for that, Father Christmas. So it was given to us by someone a long time ago. I got it out of the loft this last Christmas and plugged it in, and the kids, even though they're 14 now, were absolutely terrified. I'll have to plug it in and show you at some point, but quite why and who thinks that a Father Christmas should have a cottage in his stomach which has flickering lights all round it? And so it is really quite disturbing, and I think even snow blows around it. It does. I must plug it in actually. It's just so creepy, and it's all got the glass filaments everywhere, so it all flickers and glows. It's pretty disturbing actually, I have to say. And there we have it. Look at that. Beautiful. What a lovely hole. Well, I'll get all that sanded and cleaned up. While I've been doing that, never a dull moment, multitasking, I've been cutting out all the 10mm thick parts for the chronological engine. That's right. They take a long time to cut out because I'm having it go 1.5mm a second at 40% power, which is fine. It preserves the tube and optics, and I'm in no rush. I can get on with other things. I also sit it on card, and I've mentioned it before, but there's so much light that passes through it. It then tries to set fire to the machine, which is unpleasant. So sitting on a piece of card means that any additional laser that's left over is absorbed, and also some of it bounces back and gives it a nice radius. Lovely. An hour early to start staring at me and willing me to take you out to hunt for squirrels. Ah, beautiful. If I've said it once, I've said it twice. These clocks, off-the-shelf clocks, mass-produced ones, make very good enclosures for steampunk machines and gauges. This is the Vertig. That's Vertig from IKEA. Luckily, because all the rest of the design is made to measure to this clock, I bought all of their stock. I think it was 18 of them, so it was about 180 quid or something ridiculous. But having said that, I'm so pleased just to go out to the shed and get another one when I need it. Now the great thing about the Vertig, is these clips. There are 3 of them, and they are so simple and so easy to replace. So there's your glass, there's your spun lovely metal thing. Put that to one side. Here's the first bit we need. We don't need the clock movement, so I'll take that off. We don't need this bit sticking out the back, so I'm going to slice that off with my vibrating saw. And we don't need any of this, so I'm going to peel the label off. Annoying. Welcome back. It's about a week later, and we'd planned to go away to the Lake District and have a beautifully relaxing week in the glorious Peak District mountains. Absolutely brilliant. All loaded up, everything else, set off last Friday. 6.5 hour drive, fair enough, no problems. Next day, got up to go to the shops because we haven't got any supplies at all. The car had broken down. Would you Adam and Eve it? So, as a member of the AA, the Automobile Association Rescue in the UK, so they sent someone out on Saturday afternoon. He was an agency, not an AA person, but an agent working for them from a local garage, and I was watching what he was doing because I've rebuilt several car engines in my time, so I've got a fair idea of what's involved. The only tools he had was a little socket which he undid the fuel filter, had a look, and then a little red screwdriver that he poked and dug around the pipes trying to get them off, and then he put that back together and then wrenched at something with a socket and then couldn't do that, and then pulled something else off the other end, and then managed to snap one of the excess fuel pressure relief pipes off the engine head. Absolutely ridiculous. I thought, you have no intention of repairing this car, roadside repair or whatever. You and your boss are a complete and utter scam. You get the call outs from the AA, you send your idiot out in his van to poke around and make it look like you're doing something. You do absolutely nothing or cause additional damage, and then you charge the AA and say, sorry, we couldn't do it. Because the next, Monday, when I could finally get a proper AA person to tow me to a local garage and I hope it would get fixed, he said, I'm not going to quote the name of it because I can't remember, I don't want to risk getting it wrong. I might put it on the screen. He said, it wasn't this company, was it? I said, yes, it was. He said, it's amazing how many pickups we get after this company have failed to mend cars by the roadside. So it's a scam. Anyway, needless to say, the car was taken to a local garage. I had a really stressful week, the opposite of what was intended, because I was just sitting, walking mainly, because the nearest shop was a 5 mile round walk, and because we hadn't got a car, we'd just got backpacked. Practically every day we walked this 5 miles, which was beautiful, don't get me wrong. Beautiful river-esque, Eskdale, Ravenglass, absolutely gorgeous. We didn't get very far because we couldn't, but we got, it was 3 or 4 miles away and then back again. So we had lots of exercise and saw lots of beautiful countryside, but the car couldn't be fixed. I kept saying, we've got to leave at 10 o'clock on Friday, we've got to be out of the cottage. Is it going to be ready? Please give me an idea. I think they did their best, but they didn't manage to fix it. So all week I was thinking, well, what's going to happen if we don't fix it? I've got 2 kids, a wife and a dog and a broken car to somehow get back to London, which is 300 miles away. So in the end, as I was a member of the AA, to cut a long story short, got them to provide us with a relay service, which they put the car on the back of a tow truck and then they carry you to some services off sort of like 80 or 90 miles away, leave you there, and then another pickup truck comes and takes you the next way. The cost, dear friends, the cost of that was £1,300, despite being a member of the AA. £1,300 to get a broken car and a family and a dog back to London. Not much is going right, actually. Well, it is going right. I've got my health, the family got back home safely, etc. But regarding this project, they keep changing things. Now this is the wireless Oregon sensor, humidity and temperature sensor, that connects wirelessly to that using a wonderful Arduino library. Needless to say, I had one in stock when I built that one, and this one doesn't work. Now I've used dozens of these and they've all worked. This one doesn't. It's not recognised by the machine, and if it is, it's just constantly 17 degrees centigrade, whether it's indoors or outdoors. And you can't get these for love nor money because Oregon, I think, have stopped making them. I have spent hours hunched over a hot computer trying to find someone who's got one of these. It's got to the stage where there was someone on eBay who picked up a second-hand one of these, selling it for £60. These were £12 when I bought them. I wish I'd bought lots of them. If anyone has any idea where I can get one of these Oregon sensors for, it's a THGN132N. Oh, what a pain, because this is finished. It's already to go off to the customer. It works with my one of these that's sitting in the garden, but it won't work with this one, obviously, so I just carry on searching. So that's frustrating. Another frustrating thing, which I've actually solved, a glimmer of hope, are these, which I've talked about before. I use them with windows on the machines, with a lovely little cut-out gear shape over the stepper motor interfaces, so you get lovely flickering animated effects. Seems a shame to waste 4 flickering LEDs. And of course, I'll just order some more of these. No one in the world, especially in the UK, sells this size anymore. I can't remember what the size is, but they don't sell it anymore. So in the end, the only place I could find it, again having spent hours searching, thinking someone's got to sell it, is this some sort of strange, weird conspiracy with whatever I want? You can buy every other alternative, smaller ones, bigger ones, some the shape of your head or whatever, but not the ones I need. So Alibaba, I think I got it from, one of those places. So I've now got plenty, and they do seem to be the right size. Let me show you. Oh, the ukulele playing machine. One day it will have its resurrection. Well, it's not actually needs resurrecting, it needs building. So there's one, and it fits. I'm so pleased, because I've obviously got all these bits designed, the inserts, to make it work properly, but it has to be that size. So I'm very pleased about that. I've got that stained, and that's lovely. What's that sound I hear? It might be the laser cutter. Let's have a look. At the moment it's raster engraving the really fine text, which it does beautifully, just going backwards and forwards from side to side, switching the laser on and off. Really precise. Once it's done that, it's going to go ahead and laser engrave all the larger things with very sort of fast cuts with lots and lots of lines. That's much quicker, and then it's finally going to cut all the bits out. There's the clock face. These are the holes for lenses and things, and motor spindles, but also, dear friends, they're just the right size for the control switch labels. There's the bit that goes over this front bit to hide bits and pieces and have the illuminating LEDs, and the other parts. So that's exciting. When I see this, I feel I am achieving something. I may have a broken car, but I'm achieving something at last. A little top tip. I need to make some sort of clamp to hold this vertically onto the pillar drill so I can draw out the L. The way I found the best way to do this, I've got a drill bit. This is 25.5. This L is 25, which doesn't matter. It won't push in yet. The thing with this sort of clamping jig to do is to drill the hole first, then cut it in half, and I found an inch which I can use my lovely vice bender to hopefully bend round the ends of that. Open it up, pop it in, clamp it up, Bob's your uncle, funny's your aunt, and we're there. This is what I'm talking about, look, magnetic. It's even got a few replaceable ones of these so you can get within sort of hidden areas to crease it. They stick on there to the brilliantly. Now I need to bend that, so I'm going to put that in half and line that up with the edge, and then I didn't know whether this was going to work because it's so close to the holes, the fixing holes, but so yeah, look at that, that's fantastic, that is amazing. So now hopefully that will fit on, hopefully. We'll give it a go. I've just used it. I clamped the nub in there, drilled it with a 4.1mm drill, and here we have it. It didn't spin round, the jig held it perfectly vertical, and now this spins absolutely beautifully. It's perfectly centred. I am so pleased, Because one of those things, you know, the kit depends on having a knob like this to adjust the timing. And if I can't get hold of any, I was trying to work out ways that I could actually make a machine to turn these up like some sort of CNC lathe, all sorts of stuff. But that is much better. I'm very happy with that solution. Ooh, oh, Cantona, look at these. That's so exciting. Oh, I'm feeling much better. Having started creating things that I can actually manage and control. Look, isn't that gorgeous? Let's start with these bits. These bits are for that bit. The lovely movement detector, the PIR thing. When I designed it, I wanted it to have a pink background, I don't know why, and a silver doobly-doo out the front. I've drawn some L's, but I didn't know where the L's were. I had made a jig in the past with mistakes on it, but as with all these machines, every time I do it, I improve it. And here is a beautifully improved jig with writing on. Beautiful. I overlaid all the drawings on the CAD software to check every hole is in the right place. And they are. So I sit there in there, punch holes, centre punch them, and then drill them out. And hopefully it all fits in together nicely. This is fun. Look, starting to put things together. Now at the moment I'm just putting it together with the spaces and things to make sure the holes line up, which they do, and to hold everything together with these little tapped laser cut bits, because I want to be able to glue that on very accurately. You can see where it's marked out, which is lovely when things like this all come together. So when I glue that on and mark it absolutely precisely over, I know that the little offset stepper motor shaft will fit through the middle eel and through the middle of that one. And that's the eel where the LEDs on the interface are going to shine through behind the window. And in fact, talking of windows, dear friends, here's the rivet thing, the eyelet I think they call it. Look at that, just sits in there. It has to be flush because the arm, obviously the hour hand, needs to be able to move around. But that looks lovely, very pleased with that. And it's so enjoyable making two at the same time because you don't forget what you're doing and you can just have all the right tools out and everything that double the trouble. Right, now I need to think about what to do next. I think I'm going to start gluing the little space. Oh yeah, I'm going to glue them on, aren't I? Right, I'll get back to you shortly. This is now glued on, so that's lovely. That gives me a base for all of the circuitry, the mega, everything here. Also cut out some nice white parts, because the white parts support a row of 6 LEDs, the little surface mount ones that fit under here. What fun! And what's even more fun, things have started going well. I realised, having looked at the drawing to download this part of the CAD drawing, it's 2mm thick acrylic, white acrylic, not, as I cut out last time, 3mm thick. Oh, how we laughed because we didn't realise what we'd done and nothing fitted together. It will this time. What's going on here? I hear you cry. Well, I want to glue in the lenses, the AM/PM lenses. The holes are cut just the right size so they seat nice. They've got a ridge on the back. This is what they look like in the packaging. I've been very careful not to touch them because, as you know, I mentioned before, super glue, cyanoacrylate adhesive, is really sensitive to oils from skin oils. The merest hint of it and it produces a white powdery sort of surface that is really difficult to get off. That's why they use it in fume chambers when they're trying to find latent fingerprints, forensic sites and things. Now I don't want my horrible great fingerprints over the back of these beautiful lenses, so I haven't touched them. I'm now going to drip super glue, 3 or 4 drips just around the outside, very carefully so it doesn't spatter butt stuff. The things that can go wrong at this stage. And then, the top tip, you heard it here probably last, a fan. Not a heater, just a fan. Because I've also found to prevent these white bits, if you blow air over it as the super glue sets, it stops any of the fumes from actually having a chance to turn fingerprints white. And thank you very much. What a lovely source of warm white LEDs. Fantastic. I don't know where they came from, but I've had them for ages. And I'm unsoldering them. There's the leftovers, and look, they're so small. But when I was originally designing this idea, I spent ages trying to experiment with a way of illuminating the dial. All sorts of different things. And I found, after many hours of experiments, that these little things have the widest spread of light, almost 180 degrees. So they're perfect, and a little ring of 6 of them round here is perfect to illuminate. I connect them up with some wire that I've threaded. Isn't this focusing? I've threaded in and out, in and out, in and out, and other wires that come in to the other side of each one. I've made an even smaller shell lamp, illuminated shell lamp for someone who's got a model theatre, and wasn't happy with the, well, we've got 2 other sizes that are much bigger. This is now 20 millimeters tall, it's 3/4 of an inch. It's incredible. The 3D printer prints it beautifully, and there's just room for a little bit of variable to resist and one of these flat LEDs inside, so it does actually work. This makes me happy every time I put one of these together. The fact I managed to cut the little slots out, the rebates for the LEDs, so perfectly. They just push in and sit there, and then you can see I can now just solder the wires on each side, top and bottom. It makes me very happy, which is nice. I must finish this video, so the final update on what I'm up to. And what I am doing today, the friends. I've made the fronts of the clock. I can't remember what I've told you, or what I haven't. Heaven only knows. Anyway, I've got them done. And, oh look, isn't that beautiful with the lenses stuck in? It's just gorgeous, I tells you. Gorgeous. And we've got, where are the other little bits? I'm drowning in little bits. Anyway, there are some other little bits somewhere. But I'm now assembling the back bits which support the stepper motors. So we've got the 2 stepper motors, which are, I must say the name because I can never remember it, and people quite often ask, 28BYJ48 5-volt DC stepper motors. Beautiful things. So there's the one that works the minute hand, there's one that works the air hand, and there's the one interface sitting here. The standard interface is facing backwards because it doesn't matter, that's for their hours. But because the minute stepper moves every minute, this one's mounted upside down with the LEDs shining through to illuminate that lovely little window thing. There's the reed switch, and that's the great thing about using acrylic to support part of the circuit, is you can cut holes and poke things through. As you can see, it's also supporting the LEDs, the AM PM LEDs, so that's nice. Got the bit of variable stuck down, sort of like bus bars. I've just screwed down the real-time clock, which is there. That can take a battery, and then it just runs constantly, keeping accurate time that the Arduino can then read. Arduino's going to fix down there. Oh, that's right. Look, this lovely thing. This, if you have watched previous videos, you'll know. Last time I made a chronological engine, I forgot that this is a 16-position rotary switch. And I try to fit to the standard 12-position rotary switch in, as you can imagine. Very frustrating, very long-winded, and completely unsuccessful. And the reason this is a 16-position one is a BCD, binary coded decimal. So it doesn't just have 16 poles on it, so to switch. It has A, B, C, D, and a common and things. So you can actually, as you switch the switch, it will count up in binary properly, which is fine. It's great to use as an input device, because all you need to do is to run it to an analog input, and if you've got the right arrangements of resistors on the back, it then increases the voltage as you turn the switch round. How lovely. So I'm going to get that fixed on. It's such a joy. Like I say, having a plan. This morning I've put colours on all the wires just to hold it all together and to make it more clear as to what the hell's going on. So I will get on with that. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you found it enjoyable, if not a little long-winded. Hopefully the next one will be a little more snappy. And thanks again. If you've got any questions or queries, please do put them in the comments. Hopefully see you next time. Thanks very much. a quick and very exciting addendum. Oh, I never thought in my whole life I would ever get so excited getting hold of one of these Scribblers. Now, when I made the original one, they were huge, and subsequently, because I used the Paw Patrol one, and subsequently, even though the box is the same size and the outer bit is the same size, for some unknown reason they've shrunk this middle bit down smaller and smaller, and the way they photograph it is to sit a miniaturized child behind a huge one of these. So they look massive until you get them, and I've been so disappointed. In fact, I'll show you. Come with me here. Here's one that I got, same size box, all advertised as the same, gigantic, this, that, and the other. It's useless, it's titchy. So I was really getting down, because it's one of those things where I've spent hours searching for something, and then I stopped whittering, this arrived, and I tentatively opened it up, tentatively got my Scribulator template, tentatively, look! It's even bigger than the original one I had. That is so exciting, I can't tell you. These three things have been hanging over me for ages, and this is amazing, because if I hadn't been able to find one of these anywhere, I think I found some of the original type in Buenos Aires and Brazil, but other than that, I'd have been stuck. I wouldn't have been able to make another Scribulator. So I'm thrilled. I'm going to go ahead and order about 10 of these. It's annoying to have so much money invested in stuff that's sitting around, but I don't want to risk going through this again next time I want to make a Scribulator. So I just, and look, it's brilliant. Look at that. This is the other thing about the Scribulator. It brings the magnet back across at the end, at the start of each day when it writes the new one. It really is magical. It's absolutely fun. Anyway, I'll show you what. I will show you. Right, get rid of that. Look, isn't that amazing? Because it works by pulling little magnetic fragments on filings forward to the front or to the back within each of these cells that got a thick white viscous liquid. It has got a memory. It's fantastic. It's so simple, and I've looked it up and even found all the patenting information, which may be why companies are making them smaller, because if they're having to pay a huge license fee to, they're all the same, this part, to a company to get the hold of this, that might be why they're making it smaller. Anyway, I'm thrilled to bits. Funny enough, the same principle as those e-books use, except the e-books use electrostatic forces to bring microscopic particles forward in microscopic pockets. So that's quite a nice thing. Right, stop talking. Thanks again. See you next time.